My name is Semaan Khawam. Right now, I'm a painter and a writer. Tomorrow, I don't know. I was born in Syria. I live in Beirut since '88. I always leave and come back. I don't know why.
Personally, it's an act of defiance against the system, all kind of systems that is controlling our lives. To be able to say no, even within the art community, there's rules and there's ethics and there's a way how things can be done.
Yeah.
And if you don't follow, you get cancelled.
Yeah.
And this was very clear for me from the start, where when your problem starts with your act of defiance starts with the patriarchal system, with the church, with your family, with the I'm half Syrian, half Lebanese.
Yeah.
So I was born in Syria. My first act of rebellion was against the family, against church and Christian, and against the regime, the Syrian regime.
Yeah.
Everything I do in my life hovers around that.
Yeah.
To be free. That's why I'm birdman. That's why there's a lot of birds in my work. They're a symbol of freedom. They can travel. They're absolutely free.
Yeah.
And so, are we making it a difference? Are we changing anything? I don't know. But again, by keep on doing what I'm doing, this is my stand against what's happening around us.
I feel like, especially in a situation like that, it's a very radical act to be an artist. In a way, it's just a
And to survive as
Yeah.
an artist, not just to
Exactly.
be an art, it's to survive on your own,
Yeah.
outside the system.
I used to be into graffiti when I was younger.
And you?
And we did anti-style. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
And it was really interesting also, like, we got quite a lot of hate for that because people said, why would you do, or it's difficult for people to understand because it's not beautiful in the conventional sense of the word, and also it is inherently, and it's anti-graffiti in the sense because it tries to deconstruct, and it's not easy to say why I'm drawn to it. It's fascinating. So do you also do like street art or something like that?
No, just graffiti, and it's always political or social. In 2012, I was arrested by the government for doing graffiti. It's a very specific one. It was against war in Syria and in Lebanon. And I went to trial. And we created a lot of buzz around that aggression from the government, which they were was Allah controlling everything at the time.
What kind of
We called every newspaper that we know. We called TV stations, local and outside Lebanon, and we turned it into not just a graffiti thing, because in law it could be you're not. It's like you're. I'm losing my vocabulary. We turned it into a case for personal freedom, and in the end, I won the case.
You won it.
I won the case because we created a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Locally and
Internet.
and from the outside on the government. And it became legal to do graffiti here in Lebanon after that case.
After that?
To tag.
Is it?
They can still get arrested,
Yeah.
but they will not send you to jail.
Interesting, and you don't have
On
to
that.
pay a huge fee.
Yes.
Okay. What kind of?
According to my case, because I won that case, so it became the law.
What kind of graffiti was that, if you wanna?
So this was the Joker
Yeah.
or the Molotov. This is very old. The clown or the Molotov was the last thing I did.
Yeah.
We spread it around the bank,
Mm.
trying to burn the banks.
Yeah.
The one I got arrested for was very simple. Soldier head, Kalashnikov, and a boots.
Yeah.
Because the soldier has to obey, always, never ask.
Yeah.
And the weapon, because it's part of our history, tradition.
Yeah.
And the boots is the oppression
Yeah.
and the government. So it was very simple, 3 pieces.
Yeah.
And they get really offended by that.
interesting.
Yeah. And the rest are like very. You should. Beirut is very direct. With like I say it.
Yeah.
You know, okay. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck poor. Fuck the poor. They erase fuck. We stayed poor.
Yeah.
Fuck corruption.
Correct. Yeah.
They cancel. They erase fuck. It's
Yeah.
we stayed with the corruption.
Yeah.
And, something like that.
Yeah. And
I always drew dogs chasing a bone. A bone. A bone.
our bone. Yeah.
A bone.
Yeah.
It's part like with the slogan say like that. Please just take the meat but leave us the bone.
Yeah. And what is your background? Were you always an artist?
No, I had a bar, worked in fashion for
Yeah.
11 years in Beirut.
Yeah.
Built sometimes in Romania and Tunisia. But by 2008, I decided to just watch.
Yeah.
I was living in Tunisia and I came back and that's it.
Yeah. And how is it living as an artist during one of, or some people say, the worst economic collapse in modern history in the globe?
Well, it depends what kind of a life you lead. For me, everything I do is here.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in anything else.
Location-wise,
Yeah.
or
I'm completely immersed in
Yeah.
what I do.
Yeah.
That's it. So
Yeah.
living, I wake up here. That's it. This is my life.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I have been doing this for 30 years, so you create a system for yourself. How to manage. And I have my customers and I work a few galleries.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough, but again, you manage. You survive. We're for survivors. In the end.
Yes. I assume also like or I don't know, but your art is, or you said that also to a certain extent. It's not just consumed or it's not just appreciated in Beirut, but also internationally to a certain extent. So I assume that, would you say that the collapse of Lebanon has affected you less than, let's say, someone having a shop where he always gets paid in lira and
Yes, of course.
yeah,
Yes, of course.
yeah,
It's weird how this country is still running here.
Exactly.
It's an organized chaos.
it's fascinating.
And there's money. There's money. There's money coming from outside from families working out. There is a lot of expats.
Yeah,
So they're contributing into the economy. And we survived a lot. Yeah. Too many wars. Too many disasters. Too many. So in the end, you become resilient. I'm not saying it's a good thing. Okay? Because the solution is somewhere else. But it is where it is. Yeah.
I find that really interesting because my project here is about resilience.
Resilience. That destroys the human spirit.
My best friend used to live in Beirut. I visited him 3 times when I was much younger, before the revolution, before everything, or before everything.
Uprising, it's not
Yeah.
a revolution.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Good point. The attempt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. And I listened to this podcast called Lebanon Beyond Resilience, because resilience, yeah, she says, fuck resilience. I also talked to some other journalists. They said, yeah, resilience, we need a deep systemic change in this country. And resilience is creating an equilibrium in an unacceptable situation, in a sense, like accepting an unacceptable situation. And why I'm interested in that is because with climate change and social justice issues, I think we're in deep trouble as a planet. And I think it's only going to get worse, much worse. And I don't see the changes that are necessary that would push us away from that. I think there's amazing initiatives, but I do think resilience will become extremely important, because I don't think we will manage to keep the climate at 1.5 or even at 2.
Look, but also for the planet can heal itself at some point. And again, the problem is I recycle. All the sculptures that you see here is upcycled from my own garbage. From the garbage that I create, from my own consumption. I cannot upcycle everything, but when you go and ask for a solution from countries that the biggest contributor to the pollution is China. But who's working the factories in China? China is producing to the whole world. And the problem is not with the middle class, teach them how to recycle. It's with the poor countries where they don't even care. Or they don't have time to recycle. They need to work, get food, and work again, get food again. So this absurd notion of saving the planet by cutting down on plastic bags this is bullshit. Also, you need a radical solution by changing the industry. Is who's creating the plastic waste? Who's creating the ammunition? It's the industry. And till now, we don't have the solution. There is no solution. When the solution is there, the new energy is there, everything will change.
Yeah.
The whole system will adapt to it. Right now, it's good to keep talking about it, but that doesn't mean it's going to change anything.
Yeah. No,
So let's not fool ourselves.
And at the same time, the act of picking up plastic bags, that does something with you in a
And do what with it?
Recycle it. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Where?
Probably in Indonesia in a land dump or something.
In a lamp. It's going to end up in a landfill. It's going to end up in a landfill.
Yeah.
So it needs, again, the new source of energy, and with the change of the source of energy, all the philosophy around using it is going to change. And society adapts. When you start offering me the beer and a bottle that can dissolve in 10 days, I'll buy it. I'll be happy. Until that day, I'm using plastic bag. I'm using you do it to. For me, the upcycling that I do is to satisfy my ego, my personal. Okay, it's all the plastic is inside of it. It's not gone.
Yeah. And I listened to a small video of yours when you were talking about your art and saying, I know this art doesn't necessarily save the life of a child or something like that.
Yeah.
You talked to that a little bit, but also I think a big aspect of art, it's extremely difficult to measure the impact. You don't do art to have any, it's like an expression of...
Not a direct impact.
Yeah.
It's not gonna... Right now, let's say when there's a disaster, They need doctors and they need funding, they need food. They don't need art. Art is to help shed the light on the crisis. You use art, it's a medium. It's not the solution. But it's a voice. You're lending your voice to those who has no voice.
Yeah.
That's you're lending your voice to the people who cannot reach out, and that's it. Not more than that. So if you want it to be like that, you can do art for the sake of art.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
And what kind
like, look at Guernica. Picasso piece that he did for the massacre in Spain. It's hung on the entrance of the United Nations, where most of the atrocities in the world happens inside that room. This is a very black comedy, man. Seriously, like taking a look at it and go inside and block a resolution to stop a war somewhere around the world. It's really fucked up.
What kind of issues speak to you, or what kind of issues do you feel like showing to the world?
Again, right now, my concern is here, Beirut, my city.
Yeah.
If everything I'm doing is to try to revive this country, I'm not interested in anything else right now.
Yeah.
This is my show.
Yeah.
For me, it's a shame to come to this point. It's a beautiful country. It's a place where suffered a lot from everybody, and it deserves to live. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people, beautiful energy, and I want my city back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's easy. It's easy when there is a collective consciousness working together. People, you can revive. We have a big enemy. We have a dark cloud over our heads, but I think we will win. We will thrive in the end. They cannot continue like this.
What I also find amazing, lots of people I speak to also say, especially younger people or more educated people, when they can, they want to leave the country. But what happens if everyone that has the opportunity actually leaves the country?
It's not easy to stay.
Yeah,
really. It's not easy. And if you have an opportunity to go and to make something of yourself and you can contribute from outside, do that. It's not heroic just to stay if you cannot survive. It's as simple as that.
I talked to someone that has a bipolar disorder, and this person works in a company and then had a mental breakdown and couldn't go to work for weeks, and then they just fired the person, and that's
Look, it can happen everywhere, not just so it's understandable. Again, this situation is really dire, especially with the new war in Gaza and what's happening in the south. Situation is really bad. But again, there is maybe it's for the good of the whole region. Before, I'm not saying I'm with Israel, I'm against that diabolic entity. We need to defund Hamas, and we need to defund the Zionist settlers and look for peace in that land, because peace in Palestine can bring peace to the Middle East. And we need to find a solution. That after almost 80 years now of it, it's really horrific. And we're done, we're tired. It's bullshit. The problem is they have funding. The whole world is a Zionist piece of shit. They have money. They can do whatever they want. God told me. Bullshit, man. If it is really a holy land, the holiest of the holy, you don't do that. You don't pluck trees. You don't destroy homes. You don't kill people on a holy land. That is really, we don't need to go further on that. So maybe with this, the fall of Hamas, because they're doing the war, the proxy war for Iran. They're not doing it to liberate the Palestinians. Bullshit. Also Hezbollah. So we need to defund these people and defund the settlers also. The biggest problem right now. The right-wing government. We need moderate people to rule. The people with a bit of humanity. So for me, that's maybe something good is going to come out of it. It's on the expense on the Gazans, but maybe for the good of for the future. I don't know. We're really tired and fed up. I've seen too many wars in a lifetime. Too many wars, too many dead people around me, too. Lost a lot of friends, lost a lot of family.
And in Beirut itself, you were living in London before, you were living here again. What keeps you here? What do you see that gives you hope? What do you think has potential?
Look, this is part of the human condition. Things doesn't stay the same. Time is moving. History is great history. Things fall. No matter how big it is, no matter how powerful, you reach a point where change happens. I rely on that. I rely on the idea of change is gonna come to the end. No matter, maybe not in my time, in my lifetime, maybe for the next generation or the one after, but it's gonna change. For me, I don't do hope. I do hope with despair. They work together.
I like that.
They're entwined, like yin and yang. I don't fool myself. That kind of notion. Life is not a rosy place. And yeah, but at the end, like I told you, it's for me, it's an act of defiance in your face. Here I am, still standing, doing what I'm doing.
And you talked a little about it already, but the most reoccurring theme seems to be the birds.
Yes.
What do they?
Since I was a kid, back in Damascus, with spring comes the swallows, and they invade the sky. Damascus has a flat sky. It's like low buildings and very old architecture, so there is a lot of sky. And again, for me, that's if I can borrow your wings to escape.
Yeah.
And at the same time, my father was a very prolific hunter. So he used to take me hunting.
Yeah.
And I used to hunt just to please my father.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to reconcile with that idea after his death. Just to stop at the end. And it's part like when I started doing the birds, or when the birds came into the painting, I understood. It was part of my identity. Reconciliating with the idea birds can travel the borders. They don't consider borders when they migrate, and they don't leave a country behind them when they migrate. All of that poetic notion. But again, sometimes it's a happy bird, sometimes it's a sad bird, sometimes it's a bird of prey, sometimes it's a bird of... So depends on on the mental status.
What just came to mind when you said that is, it's more of a question, is Lebanon in a state of being a bird in a way? Does it have the potential? Because structures are, people consider Lebanon to be a failed state. I don't know if you agree on that, with that. There is somewhat of a falling away of the more conventional structures, and there is extreme suffering coming with that, and there is also a room for radical change and rethinking of what it means to be a...
We were wishing on a radical change when the uprising happened a few 3 years ago. But again, not to fool ourselves. So we knew how powerful the system is. But in the end, it fell. Now, this is a limbo. And obviously, it cannot revive itself. So by default, change is coming. By force, by agreement, and I think the war in Gaza is going to contribute to that. There's some kind of an agreement. It's going to happen soon. Hopefully, soon. And no one gonna... The idea is you cannot go back to the old system. That's it. It's done.
Yeah.
So we're hoping for... Again, hoping.
Yeah.
Right now it's about wait. You have to wait and see. Nothing, but we can't do anything. It's gonna happen outside the walls of this.
At the same time, I've only been here for about 2 weeks. I've seen many very inspiring individuals and also projects. I was in Becca a few days ago. It was basically a farm. It was 2 hectares, quite small, but they had one room, which they showed me, a seed bank. The seed bank could plant a land of 30,000 square kilometers. So 3 times as big as Lebanon. And they are trying to make themselves obsolete in the sense that they teach this skill to different farmers, to different villages, because food, like with the collapse, food sovereignty is a major concern, and most people grow olives, or wine, or wheat, or...
The Khawam Valley used to feed the whole Roman Empire.
Yeah.
That's the Khawam Valley. How important.
Yeah.
Right now, everything is polluted. The soil is polluted, the water is polluted, the air is polluted. So, because of 35 years of corruption. But again, it can be fixed. Look, the land's gonna stay. The country is gonna... What changes is the people, the mentality. And they're dying out. It's happening. And you see how many individuals with aspiring projects and ideas, willingness to bring this country back on its feet. So yeah, the will is there. We need the push. We need the system that can protect my investment in the future. This is what I need right now. And it's not gonna happen locally. Again, it's gonna happen from... Like by the end of the war, the Saudi agreement, the Taif agreement, which was not implemented because of the Syrian occupation of Lebanon. So,
What do you say? A friend of mine that I live with here says Lebanon is ahead of the world. It is the future, because when we look at America, there's a huge polarization. They are experiencing what
we are the head of the world.
Sorry?
We are the head of the...
Ahead in the sense that many countries will experience...
We don't have fucking electricity. It's easy. I believe in this country. I believe it because of the geography, because of the people, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But again,
maybe
we destroyed it.
Yeah, to explain a little bit what I meant by that is...
But again, don't forget Russia, don't forget China, don't forget And America is not, it's not just a word in the mouth. Whatever is happening,
It's more in the sense.
don't listen to the media.
It's in the sense that the extreme unsustainability in many parts of the world, be it ecological or social, and huge inequalities, that because they are unsustainable, they will not be.
There's a
There-
movement, yes, there's a movement. People got fed up.
Just when we look around here in Switzerland, solar panels are an extreme marginal thing there for the upper class that think, okay, I have made a lot of money now, I should do something good for the planet, so I have solar panels. When you look around here, there's wind out there. It is a country in deep crisis, but it is a country in deep crisis while many other countries still believe they can live with. I think Switzerland has a crazy carbon footprint per year, like crazy. And in that sense, the future, not in the sense that
But it's all green at the same time.
where do our products come from? They come from China, and
That's what I'm
we
saying.
don't.
But here, we need to change the people mentality. It's just to convince them that it's good to plant trees.
Yeah, bro.
Stop the fucking hunting.
Yeah.
Stop the massacres. Sustainable fishing.
Yeah.
Like this. But again, people don't care. People are animals. People are animals.
Because they have.
But people are. If you don't govern them,
And there's no. Yeah.
that's it. We don't have a government. We don't know how to. You need to know how to govern these people.
That's what I'm also extremely surprised by.
You put a law and you force the law when it's good for the collective.
That might sound really weird because Lebanon is, or Hezbollah is currently at war with another country actively, and there are drones flying
Not
over.
the country. Lebanon is not at war.
Yeah, Hezbollah. The point
Exactly.
Hezbollah is at war with Israel. Yeah. And so, what I'm still surprised by this huge economic landscape explode, the amount of refugees that is bigger in this small country than in the whole of Europe, which is absolutely crazy that this works in this way. How is it possible that Lebanon is still relatively safe for an individual like me? How is it possible that I can walk around in Hamra in the night without getting robbed by someone that is desperate?
Yeah, because right now they will not benefit from harming. It will only worsen their case in the world. But again, 2 years ago they assassinated my friend Lukman Slim in his car, 5 bullets in the head, because he was working against them. Yeah?
Yeah.
And his house is Heart Harek in the middle of Dahi, their headquarters. And the American ambassador went there with all her fucking convoy, and then they even throw an egg on her convoy. So it's bullshit. We all know it's bullshit.